Hello, dummies. It's been a good week. You can see I'm in vacation attire. I'm feeling good. I've been trying to relax a little more. I obviously have some trouble with that. And so, this week I've just been doing a lot of reflecting, watching a lot of movies, things like that. And I've also had some people say some things about last week's episode, my bread and bologna. And so, bologna being my friend and bread being his father. And I brought that up and talked about Bread's life because it was crazy as fuck. It had some fun stories in it, and there was some enjoyable shit in there, but it was also insane. It was insane as fuck. And so I had some people say maybe that wasn't in the best of taste. And immediately after I had uploaded that, my grandfather had a stroke. So I get it, God. Okay? Keep your mouth shut. I get it. But also I wanted to say something else too. My point wasn't to hurt or to talk shit or to make light of even. It was just that we will all die one day. And there's been a ton of fucking death around me recently, so it's hard not to think about. But we will all die one day. You can choose as long as you want to be asleep and just get by. But you will be given a chance to wake up and live again. Take that. Take that. Don't just use your survival methods that got you to where you needed to be to thrive, because it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you thrive. I do feel bad for him. He actually had died a week before I had recorded that, I believe. And I didn't know at the time, but yeah, and yeah, his family's very sad, and my condolences to them, sincerely. But at the same time, I don't necessarily feel regret. I didn't put anything that says his name or nothing on it, you know? I'm not like outing him, but it is a good example. More of a fable, if you will, if that's how it helps you to think of it, of what can happen if you just let yourself go, and you don't necessarily care. It is what it is. But we're going to move forward, try to be a little lighter on here. I probably just made everything worse. But this week, as I've been trying to be carefree and on vacation, I've been watching a ton of fucking movies. The ones about vampires and Debbie Ryan on Netflix, fantastic, I loved it. The one I watched recently was Rim of the World. Had aliens, 4 children protagonists, a lot of weird jokes in there that I wasn't sure what they were going for. But I was excited because it was directed by the same guy who had made The Babysitter. McG, I believe is his name, or McG, or whatever, you know, it's probably McG, because it's stupid like that. He's like, it sounds like the bitches that suck my dick, because he's probably like European or whatever. McG. And so, so he makes this movie about 4 kids that go to summer camp, and they try to like basically take down an alien invasion. It's an alright movie, it's fucking out there, but it's just so funny that like I don't know, it'll probably be like 5 years, 6 years, whatever, but like, when is it gonna be that, like if an alien came to, imagine aliens coming from another world. Now imagine yourself, you're like in some like little Herbie mobile, you're like, and he's like skirting through like space or whatever, you know, and you're with your one other surviving friend, because everyone you know is dead, and all your family and friends are well, not dead, but they're like dying, you know. So you're out here in this scout ship, and you're like, we must find help from other planets. We must save our friends. And your other friend's like, yes, we will do this. We will do this, friend. And so like you go and like, look, a planet, hurry. And so they go and like, now let us survey them. And so all of a sudden they start looking like, all right, so let's go about 100 years in the past, just see what was going on, what they're about. We'll just catch up till now, and then be like, they invented genocide. Like, do you know how many universes there are without a Holocaust? Not many, but it is funny to think of aliens coming and being like, oh, they're keeping them in camps. I wonder what for. And then it just, Oh, yeah. Yeah. Don't you think? Like, imagine if they saw Genghis Khan just rape his way through a continent, just cock his way through an entire continent. They'd be like, not worth saving. Now half of them are rabid, you know? Like, not to say anything. We're all descendants as far as what I've heard, okay? But it's just one of those things, like, this guy just fucked through an entire continent against its will. It's like, Like, you think the aliens, like, these are worth saving? You know? What about, like, what if, like, 5 years in the past, they find out we, like, killed the only guy linking a bunch of politicians to sex cults? I wonder what they would think of that. And it's even funnier to think that if they did, because what they would do is they go, this needs to go. There you go. Doesn't feel like good karma to let whatever this is live. This seems more of like a giant tumor, and there's a little living thing, and we should just put it out of its misery, you know? And so aliens would just leave us and we would die. You understand? If aliens found us, they would immediately leave us and we would kill ourselves. They'd be like, if we let them go 100 more years, they'll literally die in a climate war. It's only been 30 years since the last Holocaust. How long can they take? You know? How long will it take before we just find another one? That's everywhere. I mean, it's not like... I mean, like, what if aliens saw blood diamonds? They go, hey, what about those shiny rocks they wear on their fingers to show love? And they go, oh, yeah. Those get their value depending on how many children are shot for them. Yeah? I don't know. It's just funny to think of. Like, imagine if they saw. They'd be like, so, what's going on? They'd be like, well, there's some sort of cannibalistic race because they glorify serial killers. Just people that kill everyone they love, friends and family in their community. They glorify them, put them onto Netflix, and just watch them all day, every day. There's thousands of it. It's a genre to just see fucking murderers killing people in a community. They'd be like, what the fuck is this? They'd be like the aliens would be like, not even sure. They'd be like Jeffrey Dahmer, the LGBTQ icon, you know? They wouldn't even fucking know. They wouldn't know what any of this is. It's hard to discern from a person's standpoint. Imagine if you were just coming into this and you'd be like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Aliens are funny. Aliens are hilarious. But the other thing is too. So I've been kind of scrolling the interwebs, as you do with a lot of time, and as you get depressed and sad, as I have been with death and illness around me. I've been kind of like just glancing into my phone a little longer than I should, a lot longer than I should probably, and I've started to see things on Facebook that are interesting, like Joe Dirt inspirational quotes. The idea that, like, we are looking up to Joe Dirt now, you understand? People are like, Joe Dirt is my role model. Sometimes I get sad, I think about ending it all, and Joe Dirt stops me? ? People are literally getting their inspirational quotes from a man who ate fries off a rock of shit and is challenged both physically, mentally, and daily. Okay? Okay? It's so the inspirational quote was, you gotta keep on keeping on, life's a garden, dig it, you gotta make it work for you. I know people with 3-letter names that have shit like that spitting out of their mouth, like falling out of their fucking dentures. Okay? My stepdad says stuff like that with turkey falling out of his mouth at supper table. What the fuck are you talking about? You gotta keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You gotta make it work for you. Can I get some more mashed potatoes? Like, it's just like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? That's not inspiration. That's not even saying anything. And it's crazy because, like, does that really, like, keep you going? Like, that means nothing. Joe Dirt is some sort of wizard, and he uses those words as a spell. That's what that is. That's why none of the shit he says makes sense. So he just... Him and fucking Forrest Gump. Life's just a box of chocolates. You're a frog. Warlocks is what they are. It makes sense. It makes sense. You see them and you think, how are they that strong? You know? You've seen some Forrest Gumps in your gym class or whatever, you know? You think, boy's pretty strong. See a few Joe Dirts on the street and think, don't tussle with them. You never know what they got up their sleeves. Probably some Marlboro Reds. Maybe something else. Yeah, look to Joe Dirt for anytime you have some problems. Look to him. He'll help you. He'll help you right along. I almost want to meet the people who wrote Joe Dirt. Like, I want to understand what happened there. I mean, maybe it was just funny, right? Maybe it was just funny. And now people worship him. Jesus, yeah, Joe Dirt is the new Jesus. That's what it looks like. You look around and you see some of these people, especially, like I said, Midwestern here. You look around and you see some of these people and you're like, it looks like Joe Dirt is your guys' Jesus. It makes sense. It makes sense. Most of the people are sponsored by John Deere or some equivalent. You'll see bar fights break out between men based off of whether or not they like John Deere or Caterpillar. Things like that. I actually had a very interesting opportunity this week, and I actually went to a pretty big house. That was like a family house for some people. I don't want to say exactly what it is or where, but I had basically gone to this giant fucking house. And it was basically that there were wealthy people there that were elite at the time. They still have a namesake here in the town. They still have people like around. But like, basically where we were at, this family had built all of it. This whole like huge 3-story fucking house with like an underground tunnel for servants to go up through and like live in their own quarters. Just insane stuff. And you start to understand too, you're like, okay, this is how they made houses. Back then you'd be like, this is what we want. Build like the servants' quarters everywhere else. So during this tour, we have this very nice lady who's like, I'm the keeper of the grounds. She like tells us about everything that she oversees there. So you can tell she's kind of like she's like lesbian with a hammer, but she's not gay. Like everything else is lesbian with a hammer and a tool belt, except that she's just not gay. So she was an interesting one. And we saw there's another lady with her that was kind of overseeing everything, taking pictures and stuff, and it was a lot of fun, sincerely. I reeked of marijuana. That wasn't my fault. I didn't mean to, and then we got in there and I'm like, oh god damn it, so I tried to move it to the other pocket. It's no one's fault, but you don't think about those things sometimes. I'm just a pothead. I just have shit in jackets or whatever, you know. I go out one night and just forget about it. And so we started this thing, and basically the lady gives us like a timeline of the family, who they had married into, who they had like what had happened in the house, comparatively to them. There's also another tour I was thinking about going to, where they have like they tell you a little of the family's history. And there was another lady that was another lady there that was like a different lady, but she knew like cool shit about the house. She's like, oh yeah, and they fought about this. I'm like, hell yeah, have that bitch tell us shit. Like, tell me when he cheated on his fucking wife and how his fucking bitch daughter hates him for it, you know? Like, I want something fun. And so it was interesting. Truly interesting. I have my notes here on it, and I have the floor plan here. A 3-story fucking house, though. And it was fucking massive. So basically we started on the servants' quarters where they stay, and so it's basically this building that looks almost kind of greenhouse-ish, with like a garden path out there and some like a white picket fence and like some like gates or whatever you walk through. It was very pretty. And so the lady starts telling us there about everything that goes on, about like just the whole building. And so what happens is she takes us downstairs and she starts explaining. So these people had gotten rich off of a certain heating system, and the idea was that like it could exchange heat without getting too hot, which was interesting. So like you could touch the radiators and they wouldn't fucking burn you or anything. So, which I mean that's cool. Like I guess you deserve to eat for 5 generations or whatever. And like my grandfather, who like my grandfather's just had a stroke, whatever. Fine, fuck me too. But and but so these people basically are wealthy as fuck off of these things where they were on the same board at certain companies. I'm trying to think of which company it was. But it was a power company. So these people were on the same board of a power company, and it was this guy and this other guy, and he had 2 daughters, and this guy had a son. So they went and got married, but they're very closely related already. Not like as people, but financially they will always forever be tied together. So they just marry him, and then they get to like deal with all these things together. So this very rich couple, that was the people of these 2 businessmen, moved into this house, had servants' quarters over on one end. Were like, man, and it was fucking crazy the shit they used to do. Where it's like they literally just didn't want servants walking from one house to another house. That's all they didn't want. They didn't want people seeing their servants. So they built a fucking underground tunnel in the 1800s from one building to another building with a boiler in there and all of the like piping and stuff going through there. So we walk through here, we see the systems. She did a demonstration of how it worked. It was very interesting. It was cool. The lady was wonderful. And so but she was very technical, and she had these like bullet points that she was touching on. So it was more of like she was overall history. The other lady that was shorter and telling us the gossip was a little bit more like intricate, like on the how the house worked, how it got preserved, things like that. And so we had gone through the bottom. We went on this very long path. It's got water dripping off it. That was another thing. They claimed it was leak proof, and she's like, "Don't let me be the judge of that." And so we walked through, and it's whatever. But you go up these staircases that have very steep stairs that are wooden, and they circle all the way up. And all of a sudden, you're on the 3rd floor. But it's crazy that they have these beautiful houses that are presented where you're like, this is where everyone goes. This is where everyone sees. And then like, there's the back way that the servant uses to carry things. That's also where they kept a lot of maintenance things. So there'd be like storage closets back there. There'd be like fire hoses and things that would go like from the top floor down. Things like that. There's a lot of really cool shit. So we walk up these stairs to go all the way up to the top floor. And we walk out and you see like this weird, it almost looks like a library. And then you go in and they have all of these beautiful like bedrooms. And there's one on there with like heated tile floor, and it's just no one lives here. No one could live here. It's an old fucking house. A lot of it's fallen apart. There's a lot of shit that's an issue with it. But I do think there are like places where people stay on the servants' quarters end. I think it was like restored for people to live and like upkeep it. But just beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful house. Interesting to see. At one point, they have an elevator that's been in there for years, and they had a video of how it operated. They couldn't like operate it with us in there, but they had a video of how it operated. The man had fallen down a 3-story elevator and like fucking broke his leg. They put it in the newspaper. It was also interesting too. You start to see where these small local things that are stupid start to matter. So like the newspaper, that is the only way for our local like record keeping, which is funny because you think to yourself, you're like, shouldn't they have other shit? Probably, but unfortunately that's what helps us keep records. And so they would go through the newspaper and they're like, we couldn't find out when this house got electricity, but we found out in this time in the 1900 like whatever year, it said in the newspaper they had electricity for the wedding and things like that. So they would have to piece together this stuff. So that's where this lady was like that. Like she touched on bullet points, but she had a lot of historical knowledge on everything. She knew it all. And so she had also talked about a man. We'll just call him Chuck. I don't remember his full fucking name, but Chuck. And Chuck had this thing where he had been bought out by the government. The government had came to him and said, "We have this fucking deal with you, and this is what we would like to do." And he didn't get a great deal off it, but he was gonna make some money, and so he took it, and they got together. It was a pretty good deal. It had a bunch of benefits for him too, like other small things. That would like just make him better, and the government never honored his deal. So much so that in like 20 years later, in his obituary, it stated that he was wronged by the government and that they owed him from that deal, which I respect. Okay, and the reason is because all of this, and especially on historical things, that's what you have to look for: the strong thoughts. Okay, so like furniture is a great example. That's a thought that got carried into the real world. It started in somebody's head. They had to manipulate real world things until they got it to where they needed it. And then they made this furniture into something that you could have in your own world. And that's a thought that got brought out into concrete. The same way this house is. It was obvious that somebody very wealthy cared very severely about that house. And so they had constructed it with very, very specific wants and needs. Beautiful bathrooms. A lot of the showers were interesting. There was one that looked like a rib cage almost, and it's basically like you couldn't be dirty in that bitch. Like as soon as you hop in and turn it on, it's like popping your shit like fucking like the fucking federal agents on a CIA or on a fucking we were so close. I had a reference. Whenever Justin Bieber dies on Law and Order SVU, that's what it would look like if you got shot. Like when those people get like 30 shots and they're still standing. That's what it would look like. And so they had beautiful big ass tubs and shit in there. They had wonderful showers. It was really cool, tall ceilings. Except if you were in the servants' quarters, they weren't higher than 5, probably 10. Because like, I mean, I want to say 6 foot, but like, I mean maybe 6 foot. They're probably about 6 foot. But everywhere else was like 10-foot ceilings. Very beautiful, very nice. I also noticed too, like as a young, like negligent person, the higher a ceiling, the less that smoke stays in. So the higher a ceiling is, the less likely that you will have like smoke and stuff stay in wherever room you're at. I don't know why, I don't know what that is, but that's at least what I found. So then as we go around the third floor, it's interesting. You see some cool stuff. We see the elevator and things. And like I stay far the fuck away from the elevator. There's somebody else going down that elevator at some point. I don't know when, I don't know why. It's probably a ghost thing. I'm not gonna be the fucking dude though. You're not gonna push me down the fucking elevator, you ghost fuck, okay? And so we continue on to the second floor, where she starts to explain to us that the top floor is more for guests to stay at. The second floor is more of like a little bit entertaining, but like there was man, it's so fucking big you don't even know where you're at. But there was one place where you go down, and I feel like we were down below, but maybe it was the first floor. You walk in and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, oh, this is the trophy room. I'm like, fucking A. The what? The trophy room. And so these people were so goddamn rich, they literally had a room for trophies. Like, there's this, and here's what's fucked. All of it's empty. Nothing's in there. They don't even have replicas or anything. Like, it's all fucking empty. And you know they had giant fucking bears, cheetahs, elephants, whatever fucking bullshit rich people had back then. Swords, probably some racist memorabilia they had that was like long, like very near and dear to their heart. Just kind of fucking sucks. God damn it. I'd love to see whatever kind of shit they kept valuable to them, you know? I'd love to see what they held near and dear. And so then off to the right in that room, I'm trying to remember, it was something hidden, but it's like a hidden room where like, I don't remember if it's like an engine of some sort. God damn, I can't remember what for. But so then over on the left of the trophy room, there's a fucking tunnel to a pool. A tunnel to an underground fucking pool, bro. That you just walk all the way down to and you're there. It's insane. It's insane. These people had everything that you could ever want in the 1900s. They lived like secret fucking agents. Okay? Harriet Tubman probably figured out what the fuck to do from their shit. She's probably like, oh, you need to fucking move around a little tunnels and shit. Like, I'm telling you, man. Like, insane. I understand that Harriet Tubman was not actually underground. Leave me alone. But it was just, it's such a cool fucking experience. So fucking cool. I was very glad I got to go. They gave us cake there, which was very nice. They showed us the kitchen, which was different. Like, there was a different kitchen in, like, it was just so crazy. There was, like, different kitchen. There was, like, it's just crazy how much shit they had. They had, like, a sitting room that had plenty of beautiful stuff. Like, it was just a house made to host parties. It will always hold more people than could ever be in it. It's just so crazy to see. It's beautiful, really. Like, if you were a kid, there would be nothing better. If you lived in that house, you'd be so fucking happy. You'd have every little crevice you could crawl into. No one could ever stop you. You'd have everything. It's crazy to see the exorbitant wealth that they had back then. Because you know now is crazier. Like, if that's what they had back then, what the fuck they have now, you know? Or is that maybe in the trophy cases were adrenochrome? That's what it was. There was baby spleens and blood with special little cells in there that elites drink to stay young. That's what was in it. And that's why they had to have not even replicas. It was a cool fucking place. There's also one place down by, it was in the servants' quarters, obviously, but there's like a steam room. So it's like, all right, if some steam starts fucking leaking out of somewhere, we'll figure it out in here. We'll get it figured out what's happening, you know? And so, that was the only way they could tell, like, which valves were faulty or whatever gay shit. But also next to it is this giant fucking valve that's, like, pressed together with these giant screws. And they're like, and she's like, now, this is the blah, blah, blah valve. The company, and she named, like a company, will not even let us work on it. Because so many people have just been accident prone with it. I'm like, people have lost their fathers to that, is what, that has killed more people than, that has killed more people than most guns in the household. That's what you're telling me? Is that is close to some sort of improvised device to kill? That's what you're telling me? Is that most people can't do it without just getting hurt? She was like, yeah, they'll literally just have to cut it off. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's too dangerous to disassemble? Rich people had crazy shit, bro. They'd just have, like, atom bombs in their basement if they thought it could heat their pool, bro. So it's crazy as fuck that they had that shit. So it also makes you wonder what people have now. Like, I'm sure, like, rich people just, like, have uranium, like, next to their nutsacks. It makes one ball bigger. It makes you come powerfully or something. And, like, crazy shit. Crazy shit. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful tour. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say. Oh, yeah, there's another thing. So it was like 18 something. These motherfuckers just traded property, bro. Like, there was like a company that was like, yo, I got some property. They're like, yo, I got some property. They just traded properties. Crazy as fuck. Like, she was like, that would never happen today. No shit, that wouldn't happen today. I'd be like, bitch, how much your property worth? What the fuck? You trade me foot for foot, bitch? Let me see what your shit looks like. The fuck? What the fuck? That's just so crazy to me, just trading each other properties and shit. Be like, alright, you stay the fuck over there then. Or maybe, I stay the fuck over there. Yeah? Okay. Cool. Just like, circle around until you're on the other side and you're like, fuck yeah. You know? This side way better, huh? You like your shit? Yeah, stay the fuck over there then. You know? It's just so crazy to be. Just like, switch places. If I was like, I don't like my house, trade me a house, ho. You know, like, you'd be like, what the fuck? I'm not trading. Like, you can't trade a house, you know? It's funny. There's also another thing I had seen. I'm going to move on from the house tour. Wonderful house tour. Loved it. But I'm going to move on now to where I'd seen another thing online too, where there was an ad for Red Table Talk. That's the place where the Smiths had their giant, like, marriage spat in front of everyone. And basically what Red Table Talk was, there was a spiritual healer there. There was some lady, and she's like, girls, if your vagina could talk, what would it say? Or no, girls, if your vagina could talk, what would she say? And they go, like it's talking right now. And I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? What do you mean if you... Like, imagine aliens come now. Aliens come back now, and they're like, hey, should we save them? And like, I don't know, one sec. They're talking to the places where they shit from. Man, if your assholes could say one thing, what the fuck would they be saying? Amen, man. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, imagine if dudes were doing that. Oh, yeah. They're just, like, it's like... Imagine what your ears holes could say if they would shoot backwards without the stuff that came out of them. Imagine. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? Doesn't even make any fiction. Do you take in anything any differently with your pussy? I mean, obviously there's some things, but just to be like... It's so funny to have it, like, is it really thought-provoking to be like, now what would your pussy say? Like, is it really thought-provoking to, like, think that? It's just so fucking weird. It's so fucking funny. There's another post that was on there too. It was a little bit more on the opposite end, where instead there's just this old white guy that's frail and some like truck stop or whatever, and he's reading a tractor magazine. And it's like, these are the old people you should go up to and ask questions. Damn sunlight. These are the old people you should go up to and ask questions. And it's like, this guy was able to legally murder his wife in 45. No. Don't ask. He wants to be left the fuck alone. He doesn't like you. No. This guy beat a black man to death in the 50s and no one said anything. No. He doesn't. Don't talk to him. He doesn't know shit. He's insane. He escaped by. Don't talk to them. It's crazy. It's crazy. There are old people that have things to say. Sure, listen to them, but make them your fucking relatives. Don't make it some guy in a fucking truck stop reading a tractor magazine. He's thinking about rape. He's crazy. The fuck? How long can you stare at a fucking tractor? How long? Me? 3 seconds before I'm thinking about pussy. So I don't believe he's thinking about tractors. I don't. You get a minute maybe, and I'm like, this guy can't be that much of a fucking nerd. You know? I'm just saying, get them out of here. If they're looking at tractor magazines, tell them to leave. You're not welcome here. There was an AI seized in Egypt. And, her name's Ada, which is kind of a badass name. Like, if she had a fat ass on her, I'd be like, hey, what's good, Ada? You know what I'm saying? Like, could you imagine? Which, we're not that far, like, from robots just being bad as fuck. And just, like, because, like, right now, this Ada's basically a painter. She had come by to go to buy the pyramids with her picture. Basically, she's supposed to be an AI. She has a portrait of herself, and she's supposed to have no idea who she is because she's just a robot. She has no self. So it's supposed to be this thing of like portrait without self. So it's supposed to be like this big, like, cool thing. Egypt sees her and was like, we think she's a spy. And the dude's like, no, she's not. And like, what's this in her then? And he's like, cameras. Like, yeah, checkmate. And he's like, that's how she sees. What do you, she's a robot, you know? Like, she sees the cameras. And they're like, well, what's this then? And he's like, that's a modem. She needs to connect to the internet so I can make sure she's okay. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, it's just so weird. It's like, motherfuckers be wearing Apple Watches and shit, right? Which, whatever, but it's funny too that like she's getting seized, because like once we get to where they're bad, then people are gonna be like, release her. Ada, Don't let Ada be taken by Egypt. No. Robot lives matter, and she's being taken by the police. That's an artist. She's an artist. She's not a robot. She's more artist than anything. Look at that ass on that artist. I mean, she's really closer to a stallion than a robot. You know? And that's what it's going to be, is that you're going to have, like, there's going to be robots with triple Ds and fat asses that people are like, I love her. Like, it's just going to be, it is what it is. Like, they're going to literally, it's going to be, you're going to buy panties from your favorite woman online, and you're going to put them onto your favorite robot woman, and you're going to have her walk around, and that's how you're going to, I don't know. That's what we're close to, though. We're close to where the robots just start being bad. Like, I'm sure there's some Snapchat news channel that has, like, robotic pussy in the works. I'm sure it's somewhere. There's got to be something where there's, like, I just know there's one guy somewhere who's, like, the doctor of pussy, but it's, like, in an Asian country where he excels, so people are like, oh, they, like, respect him, you know, instead of thinking he's weird, like America, because we suck, you know, and, like, yeah, I mean, like, we can't be that far from robotic pussy, but, like, who was that one chick, the Sophia or some shit? There was, like, some other robot chick that got, like, that got citizenship, which is awesome, whatever, but it's like, she can't be seized by Egypt because she's a citizen of a state, right? Or what if they like, oh God, do we commit, like, is it a war, is it an act of war if they, like, take our robot and beat its ass? God, you start to wonder. Because we are close. I mean, people are fucking boring anyways. Like, what? I mean, and this is what's going to happen in my mind. You get a bunch of robots, you give them AI, and you throw them in a house like Big Brother, except you watch them all the time. Because you can watch these guys shit. You see? Well, they don't shit, but you can see everything they do. It's a metaphor, really. But you can see everything they do. So, like, we could just throw them on a fucking show, and we just, like, and it's even better than Big Brother, because they could start a fight, and, like, people would be like, I'm not stopping that shit. They're robots, bro. They'll rip my head off. So it's just, like robots that are citizens, like, oh, okay, here we go. AI robots fighting for citizenship. The last one alive wins. We do, like, a Squid Games for the robots. We give them squidisonship. We give them citizenship, and then at the end of the thing, we just murder them anyways because we don't care. We just want entertainment and the money. And so, which, I mean, we could just pay a hitman if we're completing the cycle. But yeah, fun idea. Train AI to do things we wouldn't do. So, like, we have Survivor, but we actually make them hurt each other. It's Survivor. Oh, it's Survivor, but they have to actually just sharpen tools and murder each other. So it's like, what's that one, BattleBots? It's like BattleBots, but with AI human, and they're just murdering each other. That seems fine. That seems fine. Yeah. Thanks for being with me today, dummies. This felt really good. I had tried to record this earlier, and it just did not fucking work out. So I got a little more going, got a little more momentum in me, and I've been feeling good. So thanks for listening, dummies. I appreciate you being here this week. As always, you've carried me through, and I've actually been able to relax, and I feel a little better. So that might just completely flip tomorrow, and I might hate everything. But for today, we're fucking living, baby. Thanks for being here, dummies.